Don't look at your phone. Seriously, don't look at your computer screen. I need you to tell me the phone number of your best friend. Right now.
Wait, what? My best friend. Oh, wow. I just clicked the name. I honestly haven't manually dialed a number that wasn't, a speed dial in for years. Why would I even need to know it?
Because you, and millions of other really smart people just like you, are experiencing what some researchers call digital dementia. You have outsourced a core cognitive skill, your memory, to a silicon chip.
Digital dementia. Okay, that sounds a little dramatic. I thought my smartphone was making me more efficient, not giving me some kind of cognitive disease.
Well, the outsourcing has a cost. Think of it like this. Relying on your device is like using an electric bike. It's fun, it's fast, and it's easy. But that ease means the actual muscle, your brain's capacity for that task, starts to atrophy. We've just stopped exercising our internal software.
Ouch. Okay, that is a diagnosis that really hits home. So are we about to take Jim Kwik's book, Limitless, and perform some emergency cognitive maintenance?
That is the mission. We are diving deep into Kwik's blueprint for upgrading your brain to prove that intelligence is not some fixed thing you're born with. We are here to give you that mechanical understanding you need to replace that awful limiting belief, I'm just not smart enough, with real actionable power.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the idea of being limitless, it's huge. And I think for a lot of people who struggle with learning, it can sound like, just motivational fluff.
And that skepticism is totally valid. To get why Kwik is so passionate, you have to start with his own story.
Yeah.
It's intensely emotional. He wasn't born a memory expert. He had a really serious head injury in kindergarten.
Right, the fire truck incident.
Exactly. And it left him struggling academically for years. And that led to this defining moment of his young life.
The teacher.
Yeah, a teacher just watching him struggle with basic reading gave him this really painful label. She called him the boy with the broken brain. Kwik had spent years just internalizing that, repeating that mantra, I'm so stupid. He was working twice as hard as his classmates, but getting far worse results.
And that's the experience of so many people, right? You assume if the effort doesn't immediately equal success, you must be fundamentally broken. The doubt just spirals.
Absolutely. The turning point for him came when he realized that school taught him what to learn. Math, history, science. But it never once taught him how to learn. There was zero instruction on meta-learning. So his whole quest became solving that one riddle. How does my mind work so I can work my mind?
That's a fascinating reframe, but let me play the cynic for a second. If Kwik had a physical injury, doesn't that sort of suggest the brain is somewhat fixed? I mean, are we really limitless, or are we just, stuck with the hardware we started with?
That assumption is the very first thing Kwik challenges.
Yeah.
And to really get this, we have to simplify one of the most exciting concepts in neuroscience, neuroplasticity. The brain is absolutely not a hard drive that gets full. That's the wrong way to look at the structure.
Okay, I need a simple analogy here, because my brain definitely feels full when I try to learn something new.
Okay, let's use the forest trail analogy. Think of your brain as this dense, vast forest. When you learn a new skill or a new piece of information, you are forging a new trail. The very first time you walk that path, say learning a new language, it's hard, it's overgrown, you probably get lost.
The neural pathway is weak. Yeah, I like that.
Right. But the more you walk that new path, the more you practice that skill or review that information, the clearer and wider and more permanent that trail gets. That permanence, that ease of travel, that is the neural pathway getting stronger. It is literally rewiring your brain.
So this is backed by actual science, not just motivation.
It is. I mean, look at the famous London taxi driver study. The cognitive demands of learning thousands of complex city streets were so intense that their hippocampi, the brain's major memory center, actually grew physically larger than average.
Wow.
That is physical, irrefutable proof that your brain structure adapts to the demands you place on it. You are not fixed.
It completely changes the frame, the capacity's there, we just haven't been carving the right paths.
Exactly. And Kwik argues that becoming limitless requires integrating three core areas. He calls it the 3M framework: mindset, motivation, and methods. And you have to have all three.
What happens if you miss one?
Well, if you have method and motivation but the wrong mindset, you're building a castle on quicksand. If you have the mindset and the method but no motivation, you've got a beautiful blueprint you never actually start building. You need mindset, the what, motivation, the WHY, and methods, the HOW. Let's start with mindset.
Okay, mindset is often the biggest hurdle. I feel like I have decades of, internalized failure in certain areas. I'm just fundamentally bad at math.
That is a perfect example of what he calls a LIE, a limited idea entertained. These are deep-seated beliefs that just restrict your performance. And the most pervasive one is that genius is born, not made.
But again, I struggle with this. I mean, some people just seem to start so far ahead. Are we saying talent doesn't exist?
Talent gives you a head start, sure, but genius is built through deep practice. To show you why people settle, let's use the analogy Kwik loves, the circus elephant.
Yeah, the one held by that tiny little rope.
Right. When the elephant was a baby, the trainers tied its leg to a stake with a rope it couldn't break. It struggled and eventually learned that the rope was an inescapable limitation. Now, as this massive creature that could tear down a building, the elephant still just stands there, conditioned by the belief that the tiny rope holds it. The physical limitation is long gone. The belief is what's holding it back.
Wait, so are you saying I have the potential of a dynamo, blaze, or steel genius inside me, but this old, thin rope, this limiting belief, is what's stopping me from even trying?
Precisely. And when people say, oh, but what about my IQ? You have to remember that IQ tests measure your current academic capability. They don't measure your innate potential. When you snap that rope, your ability to improve just explodes.
Okay, so if the mindset is the rope we've just cut, then what's the mechanical ignition we need to actually move forward? That's motivation, right?
Yeah.
The second M, I still struggle with consistency. I just don't have the drive every single morning.
That's because you're treating motivation like a feeling you have to wait for, like inspiration. Kwik insists motivation is a mechanical formula you can actually engineer. It's not something you find, it's something you create. The formula is simple. Motivation equals purpose times energy times small, simple steps.
A formula. Okay, we need an analogy for that one.
Let's think of it as planning a road trip. Purpose, the P, is your destination. You need a compelling, why must I do this? If the destination isn't exciting or vital, you won't even bother packing the car. Reasons reap results.
Got it. The destination. Now, I often stall out because of just mental exhaustion. Brain fog is so real. Where does that fit in?
That's the energy component, the E. Energy is the fuel for your car. Your brain is only about 2% of your body weight, but it burns a staggering 20% of your body's energy. What did the sources say was the best fuel list?
I remember this. Kwik really stresses sleep, a brain-friendly diet. He calls out blueberries, walnuts, hydration is a big one, and even just 10 minutes of aerobic exercise a day. It's like a booster shot for your thinking skills. You have to use premium fuel.
Exactly. Fuel check, done.
Yeah.
Now, for the most important part for overcoming procrastination, the small, simple steps, or S3.
Is this just the usual, break a big task down advice?
It's a bit more strategic. When a task feels huge, your brain experiences something called the Zeigarnik effect. That's the tension from an unfinished goal. We procrastinate to avoid that tension. So S3 is the starter ignition for the engine. It has to be a step so small it's basically impossible to fail. Your S3 for writing a report isn't write the report, it's open the blank document.
I see. It's about creating that immediate, effortless momentum.
You got it. Momentum started. Now let's hit the final M methods. Back to that problem we all have. We meet someone, and their name just vanishes. Why?
My default answer is still, I have a bad memory or I'm just getting old.
We kill those negative thoughts. It is rarely a retention issue. The truth, King says, is that it's an observation issue. You weren't powerfully present, your focus was split.
That's absolutely true. We're usually too busy thinking about what we're going to say next.
Right. So Krink gives us the mnemonic MOM. Motivation, observation, methods. If your motivation was high, like if $1 million depended on it, you'd observe perfectly. But let's look at the method part with the Baker-Baker paradox.
The paradox of the job versus the last name.
Exactly. You meet a man and are told his job is a baker. You remember it. But if you're told his name is Mr. Baker, you forget it. Why? Because the word baker, the job, creates a picture in your head. White hat, flour, bread. The name baker, the abstract sound, has no picture attached to it.
That's brilliant. So memory is powered by visualization and association. We have to turn abstract info into pictures. If his name is Mr. Stone, I should picture a giant stone.
You got it. Okay, let's talk about the reading crisis. Most of us read so slowly because of two bad habits: regression, which is backskipping, and subvocalization.
I definitely subvocalize. I hear the words in my head. It feels necessary.
But it's a speed limit. It tethers your reading speed to your talking speed, maybe 150 words per minute. Our final analogy is the slow bicycle. Reading word by word is like riding a bike too slowly. You wobble, you lose your balance, and that instability actually leads to losing focus and, ironically, worse comprehension.
Wait. I always thought reading faster meant you understood less. You're saying the opposite is true. How do we stop wobbling?
You introduce a visual pacer. Just use your finger or a pen to guide your eyes across the text. This one simple action eliminates that subconscious back-skipping, and it forces your eyes to move consistently forward. It's a mechanical hack that boosts focus instantly. So once you have your mindset, your motivation, and these methods, you need the overarching learning strategy. Kwik's ultimate meta method is his FASTER cheat code.
Okay, we need to dive into this one. This seems like the master key.
It is. F is for screen. Forget.
Yeah.
You have to temporarily forget your limiting beliefs, forget what's urgent, and sometimes forget what you already know to make room.
A is for act. That makes sense. Learning isn't passive.
Right. It's creation, not consumption. S is for state. Your emotional and physical state matters. If you're slouched and tired, learning will feel impossible.
And T is for teach, which is literally what we are doing right now. This is the highest level of learning, right?
Without a doubt. When you learn something with the intention of teaching it to someone else, your brain just encodes the information differently. It forces you to organize it, to clarify it. It moves knowledge from passive awareness to active use. That's why he says knowledge times action equals power.
E is for enter, as in schedule it, and R is for review, using spaced repetition to strengthen those forest trails.
We've covered the whole blueprint, but let's get super practical. For everyone listening, what's one immediate, simple thing they can do today?
Yeah, give us the quick wins, the things that eliminate friction right now.
I have 2 prescriptions, effective immediately. First, you have to kill your ANTs, your automatic negative thoughts. The moment that voice says, I'm bad at this, you squash it.
Because if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Right.
Stop the self-sabotage.
And the second prescription, start using the visual pacer immediately. The next time you read anything, a book, an article, even an email, use your finger to guide your eyes. It will feel weird for about 2 minutes, I promise, but it will instantly boost your focus.
So the ultimate takeaway here is this really liberating truth. Your brain isn't broken. It's not fixed. It just needs a software update. And Jim Kwik basically gives us the manual. The potential is just, it's there, waiting.
The core of Kwik's entire transformation came down to shifting his internal question. He stopped asking, why am I so stupid? And started asking an engineering question. How does my mind work so I can work my mind?
And that leads to the final question for you listening right now. What is your own dominant question? What's the one question you're subconsciously asking yourself all day? Is it, how do I avoid looking dumb? Or how do I just get through this? Think
So-
about that one question and how changing it could change absolutely everything.
Be honest. Did you try the reading with your finger trick yet? Let us know in the comments. If you want to keep upgrading your brain, click the video on the left. We selected another deep dive just for you. And hit that logo to subscribe to Nonfiction Insights for your daily dose of wisdom. See you in the next video.